Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast for Monday, November 14th, 2016. I think we're on episode 15 or 16 today. I'm not entirely sure. Honestly, guys, it starts to become a blur to me. I didn't play yesterday because it was a 4-game slate. If you guys followed my advice, you kind of knew which players you should take for a cash game. I know a lot of you tweeted me and said, you did just fine, which I was pleased about, but so listen to what I'm saying about the players just as much as I give you a lineup, because the lineups can be wrong. A lot of it comes down to last-minute locks. You saw in the title yesterday, Paul George out, and with Paul George out, you guys are going to want to be having some shares of CJ Miles, It was almost, I don't know if I could have made that any more clear in the video, but, there's other players to take besides Paul George. At the bare least, don't take someone who's going to give you a 0. So... And with YouTube processing, guys, it takes a long time to put a video up. We have an hour and a half till lock. By the time this publishes, guys, there'll probably be half an hour till lock. And I'm going to try to make it a 5 or 10 minute video. That's how bad YouTube is. And I apologize for that, but what am I supposed to do? Okay, so for a cash game today, guys, there's 3 places you're going to spend up, obviously. You're going to spend up on Westbrook at the point guard. You're going to spend up on Harden at the shot guard. And you're going to spend up on Davis at the power forward. Now, of the 3... if you're going to compromise, guys, can Westbrook today. And I know what you're saying, guys. Really? 77 points yesterday. Come on, guys. You got to be kidding me. Yeah, it's a back-to-back game. Why would their coaches not take their star workhorse mule and give him just a few extra minutes of rest today? Do you know what I mean? I kind of think that's likely. I don't think you can see a ceiling of 70 today. I think his ceiling is 60, and he's more likely to give you 50. So that's where you need to be, if you're going to be looking away from one of these 3 guys, then stray away from Westbrook and probably pick up Harden and Davis today. Davis has a good opponent in Boston. Harden has a good opponent in Philly. Stay with those 2 and just stick. Now, if you can get all 3 like I have here, wonderful. You have Westbrook and Smart at the point guard, Harden and Richardson at the shot guard. Now, Richardson is in because Dragic is out. So if Dragic is gone, Richardson sees 30 minutes, hence, even with the San Antonio opponent, we want him at 3,800. Sub 4,000, thank you very much. CJ Miles, we're banking on Paul George being out one more game. Take the shares again for one day. Andre Robertson, you just need someone that sees 20, 25 minutes in a game, and Robertson does, and so, that's just a fit play, a punt play. Davis and Saric, no problem taking anyone against Houston in the power forward position. That's why Saric is wonderful for me today. Davis, we don't even need to talk about him. And Olenek at center. Okay, so we've done the whole lineup in 3 minutes. Why? Because Al Horford may come back. If Horford comes back for Boston, Olenek loses his minutes. They're competing in the same position, guys. Come on, Olenek, Horford. If Horford comes back, boom. All right? So watch that news carefully, guys. And if he's playing, pull your shares immediately. Because he's a good value if Horford doesn't play. If Horford doesn't play, take your $4,000 shares of Olenek and run them to the bank. You're going to be cashing in today. Now, if he does play, you'd probably want to trade out, and I wouldn't even go to Horford, who's just coming back. I'd go to Embiid, even with his minute restriction. If the guy still averages 30 points on a 54 salary, that's 5.5 times value, and you can take it for a cash game and be happy. So I'd be jumping to Embiid and, compromise in some other position. Now it's $1,400, so you could lose all the way at, Marcus Smart up here and drop down to a 3,700 pick, which is probably eminently doable. Langston Galloway against Boston would be my first choice if I was going to do something. I'm not sure about Rozier's minutes anymore, but yeah, if I was going to drop the one position, I just trade out for Galloway right there, and that basically eliminates your Boston's exposure immediately in the entire lineup, okay? So if you find out and that Horford's playing, swap out and make sure you're not having your Olenek shares today. Other than that, we are running Olenek today because of what he's running. And yes, so this is take your Marcus Smart, take your Olenek because Horford's gone. If Horford comes in, you just saw how to exactly trade them out. And that's what I will run in the cash lineups. Now, real fast to review the other positions, guys, for some tournament options. Today, Russell Westbrook is playing on the back end of a back-to-back, and honestly, guys, he doesn't see 40 minutes usually when that happens. He normally sees 32, something 33, and it's going to be difficult for him to hit a ceiling value. Now, in a tournament, you never know with Russell Westbrook. I mean, he could definitely do what he did yesterday. He could do 70 or 80 points. But to me, it's unlikely. That's a tournament type of thing. He can do it, sure, but is it likely? I don't think so. So, tournament option, yes. Cash, no. Chris Paul, same kind of thing. More likely to blow out the Nets pretty quick, and I would stick away even at the 92. I think he's going to run around that average, 40 points. And you want 45 or 50 plus for 9,000. Isaiah Thomas, however, is a different animal altogether. They're still so hurt up, and he's just the main center of their scoring over there that I'd be taking IT shares all day to the bank. I mean, look at this position, guys. Holiday out. Conley could possibly be out. Dragic out. Lin out. Hill, game time decision. The mid-tier just vanished. You go down all the way to Teague, basically, who, I mean, is a tournament option as well, honestly. But I'd be looking at J.J. Barea more with the absences over there. At 5,800, anything sub 6,000 with the kind of 35-minute run he's seeing, I'd be taking that and be happy with it. Frazier is still an option against Boston. I know everyone's sick of hearing Frazier's name, but I mean, as long as they keep him below $6,000 on FanDuel, I'll continue to mention him because, hello, Peyton has dropped in price and he's paying a weak interior defense on the Pacers, so I'd be looking at that. Isaiah Whitehead is back, and it could be a contrarian play. I do believe he's playing today. It says game time decision. I think he's in. Langston Galloway down cheap because it's just against Boston with New Orleans, and I wouldn't go any cheaper than that today unless you guys get some surprise news about somebody that's sitting. Marcus Smart, we've already talked about how this is going to depend on Horford. If not, drop down somewhere. At the shot guard, Harden, if you can't spend up for Harden, go straight to Bradley. There is no problems there against the New Orleans opponent. Just take Bradley. Fournier as well. They're almost question marks, but I mean, if you have the money for Bradley, and there's a reason why there's a $1,300 difference. It's shown in their fantasy point performances. Bradley is a better peripheral player. He'll pick up 2 extra assists, an extra steal, that kind of stuff during a game, and he'll turn it over 1 time less. So continue to take that and be happy about it. But if you can only afford down to Fournier and stuff, actually I would consider looking at Ellis instead, especially if Paul George sits out. If Paul George sits out, you're going to be wanting some Ellis shares. You're going to be wanting some, like I was saying, take shares of C.J. Miles and Ellis. I mean, Kilpatrick, but against the Clippers, it's a tough matchup today. Eric Gordon maybe, but he hasn't shown us enough flashes even against the Sixers defense. Etwan Moore maybe against Boston, tournament play only. Seth Curry getting the minutes with Deron Williams out at Dallas. Certainly in play is a cheaper option. That's probably about it. Go as cheap as that if you're going to stop it. If you're going to spend cheap, spend it Seth Curry, and that's it. Stop. Richardson, same kind of thing with Dragic. Okay, so you can stop there. Actually, I take that back. You can stop at Richardson. I didn't even see him in the list because I already selected him. Small forward. We can spend up and Paul George game time decision. Obviously, that's going to affect things both ways. If he does end up playing, drop a lot of your Pacers picks just entirely out of your lineup and don't take George either. Harrison Barnes, definitely. Take him today. That'd be the first place to spend up. I do not like Leonard against Miami. Carmelo against Dallas could put up a surprise tournament performance of 50. No one come question me if he does that, but I think it's unlikely. I think he's more in line for 35 today. I'd be going Harrison Barnes if I'm going to spend down right there. Otherwise, you can look at. Don't take Winslow against San Antonio. Ariza against the Sixers is fine. Covington against Houston is fine, and C.J. Miles, of course, great pick. Robertson, like I said, it was a punting play. You can drop down a little bit farther, but if I'm going to punt, I'm only going to punt there where I know I at least see about 20, 25 minutes in a game. Power forward. Davis, obviously a great cash game play. I mean, because ownership will be high. You don't need to stress so much. Griffin as well. If you can find a way to fit both those guys against the Nets and with the Clippers, yeah, look at the the guy runs off for 45 points. You've easily paid value and then a bit. So, Blake Griffin is definitely in play today. With Favors, GTD, I would not even be going near the situation even if it does play. Porzingis can do well against Dallas if they play a faster game, but I wouldn't trust it. Their coaching and the team is in flux. I don't know if Cuban or the coach or what's going on over there, but I'd be watching them for 2 or 3 more games to see where it settles down at. Same thing with Dirk, just avoid, avoid, avoid. Ryan Anderson is an okay spot against the Sixers today. You can go there. You can look at Lauer against OKC. And I even look at Amir Johnson, but that's going to depend on the Al Horford news. If Horford's out, Johnson will end up seeing a few extra minutes, and you can definitely put him in consideration. Even Ilyasova today against Houston, or Rashard Holmes, but I would be looking more at Ilyasova than Holmes. That's about it at the power forward position and your center position to round out. Olenek is if Horford is out. Otherwise, God, I would be sticking away from Drummond. It's a tougher position again today. I wouldn't go with Horford just from back. I look at DeAndre Jordan, even against the Nets, because it's sub 7,000. He can pay off at value. Miles Turner, especially if Paul George is out, because he might be asked to pick up some of the scoring load. You can look at Miles Turner for sure. And Embiid, without question. Even on the 24-minute restriction, you can go with Embiid, no problem today. And Embiid will probably pay you right at the 27 points you're going to need to get a 5 times value and get a 300 score. Don't go lower than Olenek today, and if you find out that news, then really you have to find a way to spend up a little, and I would spend at least the 5,100 on Adams or the 54 on Embiid. Okay, that's Fantasy Forecast for today, November 14th. I'm not going over the scores from last time because of Paul George being out. It changed everything, really, so, no one really had a consensus lineup. And so real fast again, then. Today's lineup is Westbrook and Smart at the point guard. This is for cash games, not tournament, guys. Cash only. Single entry 50-50s and single entry double ups. If you don't understand what those are, find me on Twitter and follow me and send me a tweet. I'll explain it. Or leave a comment in the messages here on YouTube and I'll explain it there. Westbrook and Smart at your point guard positions. Harden and Richardson at your shot guard. Miles and Anderson at your small forward. Davis and Saric at your power forward. And your center is Olenek again. And remember, watch for news on Horford before you run this lineup. You need Horford to be out for this to pay out in cash. Otherwise, you need to do the swap that I showed you for the 2 Boston players out. And you also need to be looking at the Paul George news. If Paul George is playing, you're going to want to pull CJ Miles. Okay. And that's it for Fantasy Forecast for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys all have been doing well. Give me a big thumbs up if you liked the lineup today, or if you liked the advice, if you won some money from last time. And go on out there and go win some big money.